Hey viewer, thanks for joining me. I'm Teri Edmonds, and I think you're watching this video to see how I do this amazing project. If you have landed on this page, it means you're watching the replay of my Amazon Live show that I do every Friday from 9 to 9:45, where I demonstrate how I use all of my supplies that are offered on my Amazon shopping cart. You can see all of these Amazon Live videos on my Amazon Live playlist on YouTube. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button and subscribe. Happy New Year! This is Teri Edmonds coming to you from my Amazon shopping cart and Amazon Live. As I said, it's the new year. Thank you so much for joining me. I love being here, and I have to do these shoe repairs anyways, so I'm glad you guys get to join me to watch me do it. In this video, I'm going to be dyeing the Chanel fanny pack. It comes with this little belt, and I'm going to be dyeing it from this white/ivory to a black. So I thought this would be a lot of fun. Show you guys the detail that we're going to be going into on this. And anyway, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Teri Edmonds. I am a shoe cobbler. I am located in Maui, Hawaii, where I have my shoe store called If the Shoe Fits, where I do specialty footwear and shoe repair. I do all kinds of repairs, actually. Handbags happen to be one of them. And I specialize in high-end bags, and so I'm really excited that I have this opportunity to share this with you. And so I thought before we really get rolling in this, I am going to give you guys a tour of my workshop. So this is, kind of the space here. This is where I get to be creative and have fun designing things. And for those of you that are just signing in, we are dyeing this Chanel fanny pack from white to black. And again, I'm going to show you the detail that we're going to be going into here today. So a very creative project, one that anybody can do. I've put all of the supplies in the shopping cart for you, the whatever they call that, the scrolling shopping cart, whatever, it's all there. I'll be recovering those. But for now, I'm going to give you guys a quick tour of my studio, okay? Because I thought it'd be kind of fun, a little something different. So here we go, and I'll bring you guys with me here. So let me turn this around. All right, here we are. So this is my studio. This is, of course, where we're going to be working today. These are some of the shoe repairs I'll be doing this weekend. And just, kind of this obviously is where I do my hand tools over here. I have this wonderful item called the Craft Tool Pro. This is really great. It sets rivets for me and makes everything really easy. And so here we are for all my shoe repair supplies, of course. And then if you've seen any of my stretching videos, this is my shoe stretching station here. And you guys, we've seen that before, but we'll come on over this way. This is a really cool machine. This machine here stitches the soles onto shoes. So that's really fun. We'll demonstrate that someday. These are called nailers, and these actually shoot a nail into the heel of a shoe before I sand it. I move over here. This is my sanding machine here. So usually things will go on here. I'll trim them over here and buff them out over here. It's kind of fun. My little sanding wheel. But that takes me to my dye station. And I've talked about this before, but some of the supplies that I've selected for you, these are the Angelus paints that you see here. And I always say that I buy multiple packs of paintbrushes because I like to dedicate a brush per color. So for instance here, if I'm going to go ahead and do black, I buy the big jar of black, and then I put it in a recycled jar, and then I have dedicated brushes for them because once a brush has had dye on it, it's reusable. It's kind of stiff. Like, look at that, super stiff. But once you get them wet again, they are perfect. They're great for that. So that's what I like to do. I gave you guys an option of a multi-pack of brushes. So those of you that are really into dyeing leather, it gets kind of dirty, of course. That's why this is kind of a stained area. But I also have, I like to do dye swatches. So coming up in a later video, I'm redying a gal's Birkenstock from tan to this green. So that'll be fun. Anyway, it's kind of fun. And the Angelus, of course, what I've suggested for you is these are I think these are 3 ounces. Okay. And this is what I usually use. They'll cover a whole lot of things. They'll cover a handbag, shoes, a couple pairs of shoes. But if you're really going for it, I recommend getting the Angelus in the quartz. These are really great. I do so much dyeing that I buy the gallon. This is the old Lincoln. They don't make this anymore, but I really love the Angelus. I'm only using this up. And then of course I dye fabric shoes. These aren't on the shopping cart, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to show you guys. I have dyed so many shoes. Anyway, so this is my studio. This is where the dirty stuff happens, you know? I typically would do my dyeing on something like this because it does stain. As you can see, I have dye marks. So you want to keep that in mind when you are working with these dyes. And so here we are into the other studio. We'll mosey on back there. And we will get started. This is so fun. So let me just get this situated for us. And put this over here. Okay, here we go. Thanks for joining me on that little tour. We are doing a little different angle here because I didn't want to do a direct overhead shot. I decided to go ahead and kind of do this this angle. So we'll see how this works for us. So again, this is the bag. We're going to be dyeing from white to black. Angelus offers a whole bunch of colors in their dyes. This is my dye chart, but they offer a whole bunch of colors. Isn't that awesome? And I'd say it's really good to do a test swatch. Like I showed you on that leather, I use a neutral leather and then put my swatch on it. And then write the name so you know what color you have there, because they're not all true as the picture. So definitely if you're going to do something like a sofa or something big like that and you really want to get a good color match, be sure to test it out first. Black is black. It goes on nice and dark. I really like this Angelus. And yeah, so there we go. So I have a color chart, and actually I did all of that and forgot to grab my black dye. So I'll be right back. Okay, so some of the supplies that you're gonna see. I've done a lot of leather, how to dye leather videos. And typically I would clean the leather first and then go ahead and apply my dye and then put a conditioner. So in the shopping wheel, you're seeing the Angelus dye in the 3 ounce. You're seeing the Cadillac boot and shoe care, which is fantastic for restoring. And if this were really old and dry, I would put the Cadillac on it first and get the leather really supple before I decided to apply this color. I also put a selection of the paint brushes in there, and I recommend the variety pack. Let's go back here. And all right, we're also looking at an assortment. I put paints on there too, because if and I went over this with the client, if this color doesn't sink in certain spots, and sometimes that happens, either there's a little bit of wax or maybe somebody put Scotch Guard on it and it doesn't cover perfectly, I'll use the Angelus paint. I think this one's going to be fine. I'm actually going to do my initial treatment. I'm going to strip it of its wax, and I'm going to use some this is Masters thinner. This goes with my Masters glue. And this will be really great. It'll take off, see, it's kind of glossy. So it's kind of hard to tell, but it's a little glossy, so I know I want to strip it first. And boy, look at all that detail. Chanel, I love their leather and chain weave. It's so awesome. And in honor of the great Chanel, I'm wearing my Coco Chanel perfume, which I also put on my Amazon shopping cart. So there we go. And let's see what else I have in there for you. Some shoe polish. I'm actually probably gonna polish this. We'll see how the Angelus finishes. But on things like, what would be a good thing? Like saddles and things like that, I usually polish, but you have to be careful with polish because it's really hard to get all of the residue off. And if it's something like a handbag and it rubs against your clothes, it will leave the residue on your clothing. And since I'm doing this as a professional for customers, I can't let that happen. So I'll see how this reacts first. The Angelus is so nice that you can actually dye it, and then I'm just gonna condition, and I think that's gonna be just fine. And then if I have to, I can go and touch up afterward. Now, something else is that this client originally went to she just moved here, but when she lived on the mainland, she went to another cobbler and had this belt extended for her. And she wants me to extend it even more. She needs 5 more inches in it. So I am just going to get this look like somebody used an old handbag strap. And hold on. All right, and so it had this nice little white buckle on it. It was super cute. So I just took this off. I'm adding my own black strap on it. I am gonna dye her original buckle because it's so cute, and then I'll put it all together. So first I'm just gonna do the dye. One other thing is that if you're working with leather and glue and dye, you wanna dye first before you glue. Otherwise, the dye won't go through the glue. And I've just learned that from experience. So here we go. And I am going to use some gloves when I dye so it doesn't get all over my hands. And I'm also using this mat because I don't want to ruin my table. And the first process though, let's go ahead and get started. Let's see here, I'm gonna grab some napkins. Shout out to my mom if you're watching. Woohoo, I love you, you're awesome. Okay, so here we go. I'm gonna go ahead and use this thinner, and because the thinner will eat through the latex, so that's why I'm not using the latex gloves. I'm gonna use these gloves first. And I'll try to do this so you guys can see pretty well. For those of you that follow my channel, I am gonna start an Amazon Live series using their Prime wardrobe, and I'm gonna concentrate on wide size shoes. So if you or family members or somebody struggles with wide feet and you don't know what to fit, I'm gonna help you guys out with that. So tune in later for that. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna start with the back. It's always good to start somewhere that you can't see, just to make sure. And what I'm looking for is, oh yeah, I'll hold this up for you guys to look at. I don't know if you'll be able to tell, but just this little spot that I did. It sure is, sorry, it's hard to see, but I can tell that little spot I did, it took off the gloss. So I definitely want to keep doing that. Oh, that's great. And you know, using this thinner, it actually takes off stains, and like I could tell she had a pen mark on there. So we definitely want to do that. And you know, it's likely, because I'm going to take my time today, I might not finish this project right now, but we will get the gist of how to work with leather dye. Let's make sure you guys can see okay. Wow, look at me, I look like a cat burglar with my black on. Oh well, it's so great, I don't care. Oh, it's so funny. All right, so here we go. And it just doesn't take a lot, but you do want to get any extra residual off. If you are dyeing, you want to treat suede different than regular full grain leather. Suede has, Angelus offers a suede dye, and it's great. It doesn't leave a matted finish. So this is nice. So I can't wait to experiment with these little, with the chain, the leather on the chain. Make sure that it's glossy enough. Yeah, so there we go. If you get a chance to write in the comments where you're from, where you're watching, I'd love to know. And there we go. So I do a lot of my how-to videos are here, of course, on Amazon. And then I've got a website. It's teriedmonds.com. So if you're ever trying to find extra resources, you can tap on there. But pretty much I've got everything on Amazon. No need to go anywhere else. Okay, so there we are. Now, as for those of you that have watched, you've seen that I carry this great packet of paintbrushes. I love these because they're so affordable. I'll use a couple of these today, and I didn't have any of these already dedicated. I've got this one dedicated for the black, but I am going to use some very fine detailed brushes. Some of my favorites, this one is really one of my favorites. It's got this nice little rounded end. It's small. These with the fine tip, I mean, they just hold their shape really well. You can dry them and just, they're great. I mean, what a deal. I can't believe they can make these so affordable. So if you really, if you are a painter, these are great for acrylics, oils. Anyway, and then you've got another one here that I really like as well. And it is the flat square one. I'm sure there's a real name for it, but it's the flat square that I'm using today. So I think I'm actually, and I'm going to test the back first. And my little love cup. So great. I love to paint and I love to do art. So I am living the dream. All right, here we go. I definitely use latex gloves for a lot of stuff around here when I glue. When I'm on the sander, I always use a good set of gloves. All right, and here we go. So I'm going to start on the back, like I said. I just want to do a test spot, and it dries so fast. Like I could dye this and then go ahead and dye it, and then I could go ahead and put the conditioner on. It wouldn't hurt, or wax. Now the Angelus paint, the Angelus dyes come with a dauber. I rarely use the dauber. I mean, I will on the back of this because it's a big space, but I typically use brushes for the more fine detail. And here we go. So I will start right here. And it just, I'm really impressed. You know, I used to love Lincoln stain wax, and my mentor told me to always use the best. And when they stopped making it, my vendor turned me on to Angelus. And Angelus I actually like better because it doesn't smell as bad. It doesn't leave this like metallic residue. This is much easier to clean off. I mean, this is going great. I probably only have to do one coat. Speaking of coats, I actually dyed a white leather coat for a gal. And I dyed it tan, and oh my gosh, it took me like, I must have done 15 coats, because if it leaves a streak, of course you don't want it to look like it's hand painted, right? You want it to look like it was made that way. This customer who owns this bag brings me all kinds of fun shoes. I get to do her Louboutins, I get to do her Gucci's, and now I get to play with her Chanel handbag. And this is a vintage bag. I used to work for Chanel, and I never saw one of these fanny packs. And so it's kind of fun to be able to play with it. Look at how nice that is. It's just super dark. And I will go ahead and it's gonna turn out just fine. And I'm gonna go ahead and do the sides. There we go. This is great. So the dauber's good because this strap is 2 pieces sewn together. And so I want to get a lot of dye in there. And so the dauber's doing a good job at that. I don't want it to run onto the chain on this side, so I want a little bit more control. And so here we go. Let me move this. And let's see. What a fun project. I'm so excited to get into the chain area with the delicate paintbrushes. I was going to do a saddle for you guys today. I have a saddle that I'm dyeing for a friend who's got an awesome Frisian horse that's being delivered to the Maui Island, and so I get to do that. That's really fun. Okay, looks like it's in there. I can always come back again if I need to, but you see little spots. Wow, so easy. I was really hoping that this leather was gonna accept the dye, and it's great. And here we go. So especially if you're gonna try to dye, I get a lot of people that dye sofas, and they call me and ask about their favorite, couch or seat, and you really got to test it because they make those to be, not flammable. They've got Scotch Guard on them, so you need to do a little test spot. And then of course, if you are trying to dye a big piece that you're going to be sitting on or something like that, you're not going to want to do the polish on it. The conditioner is great. That bottle of conditioner is something that's nice to have in your repertoire anyway. It's great for shoes, it's great for bags. I've seen it restore amazing stuff. Okay, wow, that was so easy. Of course, we haven't done this, and see, this one's got that glossy shine on it too, so I'm going to strip that before I try to put dye on it. All right, so here we go. Look at that. It's already almost dry. And I don't think, I'm going to fully let it dry before I make my determination as to whether I'll put another coat on, but it doesn't look like I'm going to need it. So now I'm going to go ahead and go into my little collection of brushes. And I think I'm going to use this nice flat end brush. And I'm going to use the corner of it. And I'm going to go at a 45-degree angle as I go down, so I have lots of control. The dye does come off. If I got dye on the chain, it'll come off. But I like to save myself cleanup work, so I'm just going to be really careful. And we'll take our time together. And so here we go. Let's see if you can see. I know they're not super close up. Okay, now see the front. This brush doesn't put on as much product as the dauber does. So it's going to take me a little bit longer, and I can tell that I probably will end up doing 2 coats. And I'm going to get inside that chain. I wish I was doing an overhead shot for you guys, but I wasn't quite sure how that would turn out. So as we spend more time together over this year, I'll get better at that. So here we go. Super fun. I love it. I am definitely an artist. I've always wanted to do art. I get to do it for a living. I probably get it from my mom. She's a painter and quite the artist. She won't say that about herself, but I've got some awesome pieces from her and they're really great. So I probably get it from her. And here we go. There we go. And I'll let this, once I get this first coat on, it's going on so easy. The belt is taking the color well. If you guys have any specific questions about a project that you're working on, shout it out. I can see my chat from here, so I can answer any questions you might have. I did this video called Dyeing Leather Black, and it was this jacket, and it was for a customer, of course, but his dad had passed away, and he got his dad's jacket, and it was beautiful leather. It was so old, it looked gray, and I treated it first with the conditioner to get it nice and plump and it's soft areas. Some dry leather is it's dry, it's hard, and it doesn't take the color well. So you really want to soften that up, and that's what that Cadillac conditioner is for. Even though this is vintage, I can tell the leather's in fine shape. It doesn't need it. But anyway, going back to that jacket. So his dad's jacket had been worn so much. It had these cool, like, it had paint on it, and it, you know, and he didn't want to lose that. But if he wanted that jacket to look perfect, I would have gone through at the very end and done some touch up with the black Angelus paint. It's leather paint, and it's an acrylic paint. And that was one of the things I thought, well, I might have to do that on this if this white doesn't allow this dye to really absorb. But it's doing just fine. I'll show you how we're doing so far. You can kind of see in the picture. Look at that. Isn't that cool? So fun. So, there we go. Super easy. It's underneath the chain. Probably the trickiest part of this is going to be this leather piece right down the center of the chain, and I'll show you how I do that. Let's see how our time is going. We're doing pretty well, but I'll show you. That's another little trick that I'll kind of turn you on to. A lot of people have been leather crafting, and I think more now than ever. You know, 2020 really got people to spending more time in their homes and doing crafts together. And so I love it. It's really cool. I love to see people expressing themselves. I think a lot of people don't realize that they are artists, and there's a lot that you can do, especially if you're not worried. You know, if you do some test, you know, don't be afraid to just practice and, you know, grab a sheet or grab a piece of leather, dye it. If you don't like it, toss it. Right now you can get leather at a really great price. I know I've seen it on Amazon. Amazon offers a lot of different leather products. And they've got rivets, they've got grommets, they've got all of the tools to put those things in. And you can even buy, you know, if you want to do something and stitch it together, they've got a nice Genome. It's Genome 3000. That's what I have. It's a sewing machine, and it works great on projects like this. It'll go right through this leather, no problem. I did a video on how to make sandals, and I sewed all the straps together, and it just zipped right through it. So a lot of crafters are always looking for a good home crafting room sewing machine that goes through leather. So, and for those of you that are just joining me, my name is Teri Edmonds, and I have a shoe store in Maui called If the Shoe Fits, and I specialize in specialty footwear and shoe repair. But I also do handbags, saddles, equestrian. I mean, I'm a leather crafter basically, and so I've had a lot of experience with these products. Oh man, this is so much fun. See, I've got you guys fooled because I had to do this project anyway. And now I don't have to do it alone. I've got company. Okay. So for this big piece, I'll go ahead and put the dauber on there, really get the color in there. Wow, this is fun. I think it's smart. I mean, I really liked the white bag idea. But the client was saying it just wasn't as versatile as she was hoping it was going to be. So I'm going to do this other side. We've got some time. I'll do that right now. And then I want to do this middle leather piece with you to show you how I'm going to use this other paintbrush for the detailed area. And boy, the stain, it does stain. So you really want to make sure you've got a good towel. Actually, not even a towel. I showed you guys my cutting board that I have back there, and it's all stained. You know, something like this plastic is really nice. I haven't looked for one for you guys. I will at some point. But if you're using a towel, the stain can go through the towel, of course, and then mess up your beautiful counter or table. So I recommend doing something that is impermeable. Go. And you know, another thing is, I don't know if you're watching as a beginning leather crafter, if you're just curious about the art, or if you're a serious leather crafter. but there are a lot of really cool packages you can buy online that are little crafting kits. Like they'll already have the leather cut out for you for like a wallet or a little purse or something. And you can takes kind of you don't have to have all the big heavy equipment to cut the leather and buy a big bolt of leather and all of that. It's already kind of done, and then you can just, it's a great project if you just want to start, practicing being a leather crafter, or if you've got kids, there are great kits for kids. It's always fun. I mean, I remember doing leather crafting in junior high. That was the very first leather wallet I made, and the dye still smells the same. I can remember that. And then I don't know how old I was. I'd have to ask my mom, but I remember one time I saved up enough money to have a leather handbag made for me and a matching wallet. And now that I look, I loved it. It was I had beautiful little painted flowers on it. It had been dyed, I think, brown. And they put my name on it. Gosh, I'll never forget that. That was so awesome. And now I look back and I see those exact same kits. This guy must have bought a kit. And so you can have the presence of a pro without being a pro. We're almost done with this side. So probably, given our time today, we'll probably just get through the belt part, that bag. I don't know if we'll have time, but like I said, I want to show you the detail on this, and then we'll put some conditioner. Yeah, so if you guys hear the noise, I have a plumbing business on this side of my building. It's like they drop everything. It's so funny. Pipes and I don't know, it's hysterical. At least we don't hear the rooster today. I've got a rooster that lives in the parking lot. It's hysterical. I did a series of videos called the Cobbler Masterclass, and it's a 12-part series. And I did a full video on how to dye leather, because I get so much of it, and leather crafting. Okay, let's see if you guys have some questions for me. I'd love to hear any questions that you have. So you can see behind me, I've got some awesome choices of leather. I love to use them. They're great for sandals. I'll be doing a video on how to make a leather bag. And I'll be using that Genome sewing machine that I told you about. Okay, so I've done all of the flat edges here. And I'm gonna go ahead now, and I'm going to use, I think I'll use this brush, right? And what I'm trying to do, because, let me show you. So I don't want to get dye on my brush and then try to shove it underneath this chain and get those spots down there. What I'm going to do instead is get enough dye, and let's say, like, let me get up here. So this white reflects so hard it's hard to see. I'm going to put dye on the brush, and then I'm going to put it on the top of this leather, and it should drip down into these other little ridges. I'm sorry, it's so hard to see. But that's what I'm going to do, rather than touching my brush around all of this metal that now I've got to go clean up. So this is much easier. There we go. Let's see. See that? I'm just going to put it right there. Awesome! And it just runs right down the leather. So this will definitely take some time, and I'm not going to oh, and then I also have some Q-tips on hand in case I need to do a little touch-up. So that's the trick there. I think you guys got the idea on this, and it's going to take me a while, so I'm going to go ahead and keep doing that after the show. For now, let's go ahead and move on to the bag. It looks like fun, and for those that are just catching me now, midway, it'll be a nice little refresher. All right, so here we go. This is the pack itself, and take out the bag. So it does have a shine on it, and I can tell that it's got some, finish. And so I'm going to go ahead and use, again, I've got to use these gloves because they don't, these gloves disintegrate. So with the thinner. So I'm gonna go ahead and put these on. And I've got my Master's thinner, and I use this great little oil can. Boy, if you could ever get your hands on one of these are great for any workshop. All right, so just use the same rag. One of the great things I like to use, and I'm not using it right now, but I like to just take an old t-shirt, you know, go to Goodwill, buy some old t-shirts and cut them up and use them as your tools. I'm going to just take the thinner and I'm going to get inside here. I don't want to put the thinner on the finish because I don't want to damage it in case it could be damaged. So I'll just do this, and I really want to get thinner in there because if it has a gloss on it and it doesn't let the dye in, then I'm going to be struggling with that. So here we go. Perfect. And all around the edges. Can you see that all right, you guys? Here we go. Okay, that's pretty good. And we'll just continue. If any of you have a suggestion or a request on something that you'd like me to show for you, I get a lot of questions on shoe stretching. Oh my gosh. I have a video on shoe stretching that has made almost 500,000 views. And that is because people have big feet and they struggle with how to stretch their shoes. People have messed up feet, you know, bunions, hammer toes, arthritis, and all that kind of good stuff. So I have a full collection of videos on how to stretch shoes and how to find those products on Amazon. I tell you, Amazon, I love the shop local. A lot of people shop local at my store this holiday, but I also love that Amazon is offering everything delivered to your door. So I don't have time to get out. I'm always working. So I order a lot on Amazon. All right, here we go. This is great. I can totally tell that the sheen is coming off. One thing that we're also not going to do today, but I want to make you aware of is, so this bag was shiny. There is an Angelus, and I put it in the shopping cart for you guys. But there's an Angelus acrylic finisher, and it either has matte or high gloss, and so you can, you know, add a shine to your bag if you want to, or your belt or something like that. The paints are great for belts. You know, they don't come off. Angelus acrylic leather paints are made to handle the bendiness of a material so they don't crack, especially if you apply them in multiple light coats, then they won't crack. I did a handbag. Oh, look at that. Just get off that little stain. She's gonna love it. Oh my gosh, this bag's gonna be so great. Make sure that I get it all. Okay, pretty good. Okay, so this bag has a fabric interior, and because I'm trying to do, I need to clean this. Because I want to do a professional job for the client, I don't want the leather to drip onto that lining. So I'm gonna, as I do the inside, I'm going to dye it facing down, right? Just in case it drips, it won't drip inside the bag. Once that happens, you cannot get it off. So, okay, one of the other things is when you dye something, you can only dye it that color or darker. You can't dye lighter. You can't go from a tan to a white. You'd actually have to paint it to achieve that. So, okay, here we go. Let's do this. This won't take very long either. So for this one, I think I'm gonna go ahead and use the paintbrush to start. I'm gonna use this, my little square paintbrush. And see, now these will be dedicated to the black dyes. All right. I'd be really careful around here so that I keep it looking nice. And I will definitely use my dauber to get the big areas just to save time. How are we doing on time? Pretty darn good. We've got 6 more minutes. So, and the other part is, you know, with the paintbrush, sometimes you have to do a couple of coats. Whereas the dauber, pretty much, it gets the paint right in there. Okay, there we go. So I'm gonna go switch over to my dauber. And this is a good idea because she's got a yellow stain on this bag, so this will just cover it on up. And it doesn't hurt the leather. You guys see that? Great. I did a video on how to dye a fluvog. It was a Gucci handbag, and I was dyeing it to match this fluvog shoe that the client had. And the fluvog, if you're familiar with them, they do some crazy designs. This bag was neon peach and neon pink, and the only way, and her bag was beige, and so the way I did that was with the paints. And because it had a long strap, you know, I did the coats very thin. I did almost 17 coats of very watered down pigment, so that when it would just, as the leather bent, it wouldn't crack. And that's really key. I get a lot of guys that like to paint their Nike Air Jordans. I do a lot of Air Jordans, and I use paint on those, and I try to do thin coats. There we go. Now, I'm going to stop here because I can come back and finish this later. We don't have enough time for me to do it with you guys today, but I am going to just grab a little bit of that conditioner, and I'm going to use it on the back of this belt that it's dry enough, and show you that. So wait 1 second. Okay, so this is the Cadillac Boot and Shoe Leather Lotion. It's really fantastic. I have seen it restore amazing things, and so I recommend it. I don't put it on suede. It's the only thing you can't really put it on, or of course fabric. I'm just using another paper towel for now, but I usually have a designated towel for it. So let's take a look. This is what we have. And, you know, I see some, couple of little spots that I'm gonna touch up, but the rest of it looks great. So I'll just kind of go right here in the middle and show you. So I've got the conditioner, and I'm just going to, putting it right on it, and see, you can see just a little bit of residue, but it's not bad. The Lincoln leaves a lot more residue. This though does not, and I will do this until there is no more residue on this towel. That way I know that it's not going to rub off on her clothing. You guys see there? Look at that, so easy. And it's gonna give this vintage bag, you know, the resiliency to last a bit longer for her. And there we go. Awesome. You would not even know that this wasn't black originally. Yep, there we are. So it will be beautiful. I'll finish this up. Maybe I'll do an after shot. But for today, our time is up today. So thanks again. You know, be sure to follow me on Amazon. And I'm really excited to bring in that premier wardrobe. And I'm really going to focus on wide-sized shoes. And we will break the myth bust the myth that you can't find good wide size shoes. I will help you because I have a wide foot. I'm going to use my foot as the testing platform, and I'm very honest. So I will let you know whether I give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down. Thank you so much for joining me. I totally appreciate you, and thank you for watching. Thank you, Amazon, for this opportunity. Mom, aloha, and everybody else, aloha from Maui.